Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're like us, you want that critical, often overlooked knowledge. Yeah, the stuff that separates just being informed from being truly expert.
Absolutely.
Today, we are shining a very bright spotlight on something really foundational to reproductive success: ovarian blood flow, OBF.
OBF, yeah.
You might be curious about optimizing health factors in, well, complex biological processes. Or maybe you've just heard circulation thrown around casually in fertility talks.
hmm
This deep dive is going to show you why OBF is anything but casual. We've pulled together a stack of sources, really solid stuff.
Western medical studies, yeah.
Exactly. Explaining the precise cellular mechanism of egg health, what common factors choke off this vital flow, and how one gentle treatment acupuncture has actually been shown in these studies to reverse the damage and make a measurable difference.
That's right. Our mission today is clarity, really. Ovarian blood flow isn't some minor detail. It's basically the infrastructure.
The infrastructure, I like that.
It's the delivery system for life support, straight to the developing egg. So understanding this flow is absolutely key to understanding the foundational health of the egg itself.
And the egg provides the building blocks for the embryo, right?
So its quality impacts literally everything that follows: conception potential, embryo development, all of it.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with why blood flow is so vital. What exactly are the ovaries doing with it?
Okay, so think of the ovary as this highly sophisticated, high-demand nurturing environment, like a little incubator.
Right.
The eggs, or oocytes, they develop inside these small, fluid-filled sacs. You know them as follicles.
Follicles, yeah.
And for just one follicle to produce a healthy, viable egg, it needs a continuous, completely uninterrupted supply chain running right to it.
Through tiny blood vessels.
Tiny, specialized blood vessels. This isn't just general circulation, it's very targeted.
So a dedicated delivery system, what's it delivering?
It's delivering a whole cocktail of critical elements directly into the follicular fluid, that liquid right around the egg. Number one, absolutely crucial, is oxygen, O2.
Makes sense.
But it's also bringing nutrients, sugars, proteins for energy, key hormones like estrogen and progesterone for signaling maturation.
Telling the egg when to grow up, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. And electrolytes, too, those essential minerals that stabilize cell function. Without strong blood flow, that whole delivery system just collapses.
And the sources, they show researchers can actually measure how well that system is working, right? It's not just theoretical.
Oh, absolutely not. The science here is incredibly precise. We know good blood flow ensures the follicular fluid has high dissolved oxygen.
Okay.
And study after study shows a direct link. Eggs from follicles with higher oxygen are significantly more likely to have normal chromosomes.
Normal chromosomes.
Yeah.
And a healthy spindle structure. I saw that mentioned.
Yes, exactly. The spindle structure, that's the cellular machinery inside the egg.
Right.
It's responsible for making sure the chromosomes split perfectly correctly during that really delicate process of fertilization.
And if that's damaged,
The egg is basically compromised from the get-go. Doomed might be too strong, but its potential plummets.
so a damaged spindle leads to aneuploidy. That's the wrong number of chromosomes.
That's the major risk, yes.
Right.
Aneuploidy. High oxygen, plenty of nutrients. They ensure the egg has much better developmental potential. That's the term they use.
And we can actually see this flow difference. You mentioned imaging.
We can. High-tech imaging, specifically Doppler ultrasound. It lets us measure the actual strength and resistance of the blood flow in those tiny ovarian arteries.
So you can quantify it.
Quantify it, yes.
Yeah.
And the data confirms. Stronger OBF correlates directly with better follicle growth and just better overall ovarian function. It's visible.
And connecting the dots even further, our sources highlighted a specific protein, almost like the body's own marker for good flow, VEGF.
Ah, yes. Vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF. Think of VEGF as the body's construction foreman for building and maintaining the blood vessel network.
Okay, the vascular infrastructure guy.
Exactly. It's a powerful protein. Promotes the growth of new, healthy blood vessels. So higher natural levels of VEGF mean better vessel density around the follicles.
Which means better oxygen delivery.
And reliably healthier eggs. It's a key indicator that the nurturing environment is really firing on all cylinders.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me, because if this system is so vital and, frankly, so delicate, We need to talk about how it gets compromised, what weakens this flow,
Yeah.
what turns that nurturing environment into what the sources called a starved environment.
A starved environment. That's a good way to put it. There are several major factors, unfortunately. Some unavoidable, some not.
Okay, let's start with the unavoidable.
Natural aging. OBF just naturally becomes less efficient over time. That's a biological reality.
Okay, but then there are the preventable or treatable things.
Yes, and that's where lifestyle comes in big time.
Like what specifically?
Well, excessive alcohol intake, smoking, these are proven to diminish ovarian reserve, partly by damaging those very delicate blood vessels.
Makes sense. What about diet?
Diet, too. A poor diet impairs oocyte quality, and the research shows it's dose-dependent.
Meaning the worse the diet.
The more compromised the eggs tend to be, yeah. But probably the most insidious and often treatable cause is stress.
Stress. How does that connect directly to blood flow?
Chronic stress is a major driver of reduced OBF because it keeps triggering the sympathetic nervous system.
The fight or flight response.
Exactly. When you're constantly stressed, your body constricts peripheral blood vessels. It's prioritizing central functions, survival.
And the ovaries are considered peripheral.
In that stress response scenario, yes. So blood flow gets choked off. The body's basically deciding, running from the tiger is more important than making a baby right now.
And if that stress is chronic, the restriction isn't temporary, it becomes the norm.
Precisely. It becomes a long-term problem, starving the follicles. And you see other factors compounding this too.
Like what?
Long-term low estrogen levels can impair pelvic circulation. Think early menopause or certain medications. And then there are direct medical traumas. Chemotherapy is notoriously damaging to blood vessels.
Right.
And sometimes procedures like uterine artery embolization, often used for fibroids, can unintentionally block nearby vessels that are crucial for ovarian supply.
So a whole range of things can restrict that vital delivery system, and the result is hypoxia.
Hypoxia, chronic low oxygen. That's the critical downstream effect.
Tell us about the damage that causes at the cellular level. This is where it goes from just bad circulation to, like, fundamental genetic failure.
It really is. Hypoxia is profoundly damaging. It starves the mitochondria, the cell's power plants.
Yeah, the energy source.
And it interferes with basic cellular mechanics. That low oxygen environment in the follicle, that's where genetic errors just multiply.
How so?
Well, if the egg is forced to mature under hypoxic conditions, abnormalities in its chromosomes become much more likely. And crucially, that spindle structure we talked about.
The chromosome sorter.
Exactly. It becomes unstable. It's incredibly sensitive to low oxygen. It's like trying to perfectly zip up a complex jacket while the room is shaking in the dark.
Okay, vivid. So the zipper, the spindle, fails to separate the chromosomes cleanly.
It often does. And that failure leads directly to aneuploidy, those extra or missing chromosomes. That's a major reason why early embryos fail.
Or why genetic testing flags them.
Exactly. The egg just struggles to complete meiosis properly. It causes other problems too, like cytoplasmic defects, issues in the egg's internal structure, and it depletes its energy reserves.
So even if it gets fertilized?
Even if it's fertilized, its ability to support that incredibly energy-intensive early embryo development is severely hampered. It might just break down or fail to implant. The quality of that single egg cell really dictates the viability of the whole early process.
This sounds like it must be a core mechanism, making conditions like PCOS or diminished ovarian reserve even tougher.
It absolutely is. In PCOS, for example, you often have chronic hormonal imbalances that can exacerbate poor circulation anyway. And with diminished ovarian reserve, where you have fewer eggs to begin with, and time is critical.
Every egg counts.
Every single egg counts. Compromised circulation actively sabotages the quality of those precious few eggs. So for managing those conditions, addressing the circulation becomes, non-negotiable.
Okay, so we've identified the problem, this hypoxia, this starved environment, driven by restricted blood flow. What's the intervention?
Well, if we connect this damage back to the cause, particularly the stress-induced constriction.
The sympathetic nervous system being overactive.
Exactly. The key intervention isn't just about, say, adding more nutrients externally. It's about reversing that sympathetic constriction, that constant nerve-induced tightening of the blood vessels.
Okay.
And this is where acupuncture provides a specific and actually extensively studied benefit.
Right. So we're shifting from just the plumbing problem to targeting the nervous system that controls the plumbing. How does sticking thin needles in specific spots translate to better blood flow way down in the ovaries?
It sounds counterintuitive maybe, but the Western medical studies show it works via a pretty powerful neuroendocrine mechanism.
Neuroendocrine.
Yeah.
Nerves and hormones.
Nerves and hormones, yes. By stimulating certain nerves, often points in the lower back or abdomen, you effectively send a signal up to the central nervous system,
Telling it what?
telling it to dial down the activity of those sympathetic nerves, the fight or flight ones that supply the ovaries and the whole pelvic region.
So switching the signal from stressed and restricted to...
Through relaxed and open, exactly. The blood vessels dilate.
And the sources mentioned a specific technique, low-frequency electroacupuncture.
Correct. EA, they call it.
Yeah.
By adding a very mild electrical stimulation, we're talking really low frequency to the needles, you significantly amplify that calming signal.
Okay.
It triggers a stronger reflex pathway in those ovarian sympathetic nerves. So it's not just passive relaxation, it's an active, measurable neural modulation.
And that delivers that flood of essentials you mentioned earlier.
A flood of essentials. More oxygen, more hormones, more nutrients, right to the follicles where they're needed most.
Does this help the surrounding area too? Like the uterine lining for implantation?
It does, yeah. Studies show electroacupuncture also reduces impedance, which is basically resistance to flow in the uterine arteries.
Impedance, like traffic jams on the highway.
That's a great analogy. High impedance is like a rush hour traffic jam on the highways leading to the reproductive organs. It restricts the delivery trucks.
Yeah.
Acupuncture helps clear that traffic.
Promoting smoother, higher volume flow throughout the pelvis.
Exactly. Better pelvic circulation overall.
That sounds like a genuinely holistic improvement then. You're helping the egg develop and preparing the place it needs to implant. What biological improvements do they actually see in women getting this treatment?
The benefits are quite broad, especially interestingly in women struggling with PCOS.
Oh.
When OBF improves, clinicians often see a measurable reduction in ovarian volume and sometimes even the number of cysts. Yeah. And that neuroendocrine effect we talked about, it helps balance critical reproductive hormones like FSH and LH. That sets the stage for more regular ovulation, healthier cycles.
But the biggest win is still at the egg level.
The biggest win is definitely at the cellular level for the egg itself. Improved circulation directly enhances egg quality. We see better spindle alignment.
Fewer genetic errors.
Fewer genetic errors, yes. And higher levels of supportive factors, like something called stem cell factor, right there in the follicular fluid. You're essentially turning that starved environment back into the nurturing one it's supposed to be.
Giving the egg the best possible shot.
The best possible chance to mature successfully, exactly.
It makes perfect sense. Better raw materials give you a better final product. Poor egg quality must translate directly to poorer embryo quality.
Directly. Because the egg isn't just genetic material, it provides almost all the initial building blocks for the embryo.
Mitochondria for energy.
Mitochondria, yes, and the cellular machinery to repair initial DNA damage. It's the engine room of the early embryo. And when that engine room is compromised by hypoxia, by age, by poor nutrients, it just lacks the energy and the repair tools to fix even minor glitches. Leading to slow-growing embryos or embryos that just stop developing altogether. They arrest before reaching that crucial blastocyst stage.
Right, the stage needed for implantation.
Exactly. So if you can improve the egg's internal health by ensuring its oxygen and nutrient supply, you radically increase the chances of getting a robust embryo out the other side.
Okay, let's talk hard numbers. The clinical trials. This is the real deep dive insight our listeners are probably leaning in for. What does boosting OBF with acupuncture actually translate to in IVF success rates?
The statistics are pretty compelling, and they've been reproduced in multiple studies. Clinical trials, specifically in IVF patients, show that acupuncture leads to significantly higher quality eggs.
Okay.
And that results in improved fertilization rates. We're talking jumps like up to 76% fertilization with acupuncture versus maybe 66% without it in some groups. That's a substantial difference.
10% more eggs successfully fertilizing? That's huge.
It's a big jump. And the difference in how those embryos survive and develop is also really striking.
How so?
Well, eggs that develop in hypoxic conditions, or older eggs, they result in far lower rates of high-quality embryos by day 3.
Day 3. Okay.
Sometimes as low as, say, 33% high quality, compared to maybe 54% in groups with better OBF or acupuncture support.
Wow, almost double the rate of good embryo.
Nearly double. And that gap often widens by the time you get to the blastocyst stage, that key implantation milestone. You might see only 30% make it versus 50% in the healthier group.
So acupuncture isn't just tweaking things slightly. It's pushing eggs and embryos across these really critical viability thresholds.
That's exactly what the data suggests. It's helping more of them make it through those tough early developmental hurdles.
Can I remember the sources noting it can also make the IVF process itself a bit easier, something about fertility drugs.
Yes, that's a key secondary benefit. Studies have shown it can reduce the need for high doses of gonadotropins, those stimulating hormones.
Which means less physical side effects, maybe less cost.
Less physical and financial toll, exactly. But focusing purely on the conception success, the data is really hard to ignore. Acupuncture consistently boosts live birth rates.
By how much?
Compared to no treatment controls in IVF, some meta-analyses show around a 30% increase in live birth rates.
30%.
And maybe the most powerful stat I saw was its effectiveness for those who've had a tough journey already.
What do you mean?
For patients who have already experienced a previously failed IVF cycle, one analysis cited acupuncture as being potentially 42% more effective in helping them achieve a live birth in a subsequent cycle.
42%.
Mm.
For women who've already faced that disappointment, that's a massive potential difference, not just clinically, but emotionally, financially.
It's huge. It suggests it could potentially shorten the whole, often grueling conception journey, especially in these higher stakes situations.
So the timing and frequency matter, too.
Absolutely. The research suggests that more treatments are generally better, and strategic timing is key. Particularly treatments leading up to and on the day of the embryo transfer seem to enhance outcomes significantly.
And critically, without increasing risks like miscarriage.
Correct. The meta-analyses confirm these benefits are achieved without increasing miscarriage risk. So, by optimizing OBF and overall pelvic circulation, you're creating this highly receptive, well-nourished environment right from the start, from the follicle developing all the way through to implantation.
Okay, so let's try and summarize this deep dive. Healthy ovarian blood flow, OBF, it's not minor, it's absolutely fundamental. Foundational for egg quality because it delivers the oxygen, the nutrients, the hormones,
Yeah,
the whole life support system.
right.
When that circulation is compromised by stress, aging, lifestyle, whatever the egg suffers, real damage, genetic damage, structural damage, mainly due to hypoxia.
That low oxygen state.
And acupuncture, specifically electroacupuncture, works through this studied mechanism of calming the sympathetic nervous system,
Reversing that constriction.
increasing the blood supply. And it's clinically shown to enhance that flow, leading to measurably stronger eggs, better quality embryos, and genuinely higher rates of conception success.
So what does this all really mean? I think the bottom line from the research is that addressing peripheral circulation, something often dismissed as just, plumbing or a secondary factor, is actually a major lever.
A major lever in complex fertility success.
Absolutely. By targeting the nervous system's control over that circulation, you can profoundly influence the actual cellular health of the egg itself.
Which brings us to a really fascinating closing thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. We focused a lot today on oxygen and nutrients, right? And we saw how damaging hypoxia, low oxygen, is to the egg's genetic structure. Now, given that the sympathetic nervous system plays such a huge role in causing that hypoxia by constricting blood flow.
Especially under chronic stress.
Exactly. Here's the question. What unexplored nutritional factors, or maybe environmental factors, might be equally capable of modulating that same sympathetic nervous system? Things that could influence ovarian blood flow, perhaps significantly, outside of known treatments like acupuncture.
That's a great question. What else influences that deep systemic stress response that impacts circulation?
Something for you to think about. A potential area for future exploration, maybe even future deep dives.